Hey guys and girls, it's Nathan Birch here, and you know that shit gets serious when I pull out the whiteboard. Today, this is a very, very important lesson for us to run through. I hear a lot of people come in on a regular basis and don't actually realise how good their life is and what sort of opportunities that they have in front of them. What do I mean by that? Now, a lot of people own houses there. Let's say half the population owns, I'm just making these numbers up right now. Let's say half the population owns properties in this country. 12 million people out there, let's say half of them own properties which have gone up over the last few years and the recent booms that we've had and whatnot. And there's a lot of people out there that are sitting on equity and sitting in a very good position. You may not be in a position where you can save up too much money, just for whatever reasons your life holds at this point in time. But let's say, for instance, you bought a house in a mum and dad area of Sydney for $500,000 in, I don't know, any time between 2004, when the last market shit itself in Sydney, and 2014. That's 2 years after the boom that we're currently in. You've bought a property for $500,000. Let's say that that property now is, I'm just being really conservative here and not getting too crazy on the numbers. Let's say it's only got up by $300,000. I know lots of places. I know, all of Sydney. Even if you're in Mount Druitt in Sydney, which was selling for $200,000, they're now selling for $500,000 a house. If you bought a property for $500,000, my handwriting is crap, so I didn't get my pen license at school, so they shouldn't let me draw on the board today, but it's all right. And pink's my favourite colour, that's why I'm using pink pen. I've got a lot here to choose from. But $500,000 is what you purchase the property for. Let's say you put down a 20% deposit or a 10% deposit, whatever the case. Let's say you still owe $500,000 on the property. Let's look at this $300,000. When you go to the bank to revalue the property at $800,000, they're going to say, okay, we want to see you with a 80% lend of that. So it's 160 off 800, 640K. Let's say, for instance, you still owed 500,000, so minus 500 gives you a position of 140K to buy a property. If you bought a property in Sydney or Melbourne or wherever, say 3 years ago or later, before that, prior, you should have some good equity in your properties. You could use, let's just use this as a real rough example. I'll step over this side of the board. What could you do with 140K? You could buy 2 to 3 investment properties. Let's say you go and buy properties that are 200K worth 300K, 250K, sorry. So you go buy yourself 3 of these properties for 200 grand, they're worth 250. You've just made yourself another 150K worth of equity out of that, because 50K times 3 is 150K. Let's say at 80% of that, if you go pull out that 150K worth of equity at 80%, take 30K off, means you've got 120K. If you had another 120K, remember you've got your principal place of residence, you just bought 3 properties, you're now on 4 properties, use your 120K to go and buy another 2 properties. It's meant to say 2 investment properties with a plural because it's more than one. 200,000 purchase, worth 250. Meaning that you've got 100K worth of equity there. Use that 100K to go and buy another 2 properties. That's without any of these properties going up or another boom. I'm just talking about buying properties that are below market value. You got your $500,000 house you bought a while ago. Hypothetically, it could be a $200,000 house worth 500 now, whatever the case may be. Pull out some equity, 140K out, 140K, 2 to 3 properties. You should be able to buy 3 properties with that. 200 grand worth 250, 150K worth of equity in there. Using the equity from that, you buy another 2 properties. From that, you should be able to go buy another 2 properties. That is where a lot of people get stuck, because they don't actually realise that they've got money or access to money which is in their own properties that they've actually purchased before. And you could be mum and dad driving your kids to school every day, hating your boss, not realising that you've got potential. I see people come in every day of the week which have got $250,000, $350,000, $500,000, $1 million worth of equity. They don't even know what they're sitting on or what to actually do with it. That's the biggest waste of equity and the biggest waste of opportunity out there, is that people don't actually understand that they can use what they've got to get to where they want to be. What does it take to get yourself financially independent? If you wanted to have $100,000 a year passive income, you need to have 7 properties paid outright. How do you get 7 properties paid outright? You can buy 14 properties, wait for them to go to $200,000, from $200,000 to $400,000, sell off half of them, pay out your debt. You could buy say 10 properties, use some of the equity inside of those ones to go buy a block of land, build a house on it, sell that property off, make $200,000, $300,000 on it, pay down some of this debt and get yourself into a position where you've got an unencumbered property portfolio in the next 5 to 10 years, which will generate you $100,000 a year or $150,000 a year. That will give you a net worth position of $2 to $3 million. Opportunities are out there everywhere, guys. What are you doing about maximising what you've got to create the future that you want? So I'll leave that with you. If you guys have any questions, you can speak to the guys at BeInvested headquarters, either my customer service team, or if you need to speak to a finance strategist, you can call the guys at Zinger Finance as well. You'll find them. You can call through the main line at 1300 367 925. Have an awesome day and make sure that you don't let your opportunities pass you by in life. Catch up soon. Have an awesome one.